Yeah, I think it's all one. I know.
Did you really?
Okay, solid, free for all order. I just love it. Never works with my family. Well, anyway, welcome to this June 6th meeting of our Government Day here in Lincoln. Welcome to you all. I'm Ms. Payne. I'm the chair of the Bruursema County Commission, and I get to tell us that we get to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance, like we always do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, first of all, I'll, yes, I can do reservations. I always have to look around, make sure I know everybody's name. I don't know his name, but I can figure it out. To my immediate left is Tom Wolf, who is county commissioner. He's also, don't laugh, Tom Roth. He's a county commissioner. And then there is the world famous Roger Balls, who is our CAO, which stands for Chief Administrative Officer. See, I get it eventually. Lindsay Morgan from the Planning Department. Jenny Chambers, who everybody knows, she runs the Public Works. To my left, or to my right, is Tom. Mr. Hunthausen, Commissioner Hunthausen is here, and he drove up by himself, and that's why I couldn't remember what he was talking today. Anyway, I'm glad you made it. And Sheriff Dutton, who is always a joy to have around because he tells us jokes and tells us things we really don't want to know about. But anyway, and sitting next to him is Officer
Deputy Crime.
Deputy
Corporal's Crime.
And Corporal Pryor, are you the resident deputy here in?
I'm not.
Oh.
I'm actually being assigned to work at the Lincoln Rodeo this year, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
fine. Oh, that'll be, oh, you'll just love that.
Knowing me, I'm trying to find the freaking heat control system.
And this gentleman is Zach, who's always stirring up trouble, but we like him, so we let him. Okay. Oh, I'm supposed to be sure and remind everybody. The law requires that when we hold a gathering like this, we have to record it, and it is available to the public. And so, we cannot do the usual, you know, kind of community thing where you just stand up and say, George, I want you. We have to get up in front of the podium and talk clearly, so that, and we're recording it from over there, so you can't just stand up and start hollering. You've got to go up and enter into the program, so we're doing all this legally and we don't get sued. Okay, with that in mind, we are moving into the reports.
Chair Payne.
Oh,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could I just mention that we have a few other of our county employees here today?
yeah.
Introduce them, so
You don't think they will introduce themselves when they're gonna give a report?
whatever you prefer.
I think they should remain incognito. Because there are people out there who don't like county employees and they may get mugged. Right? You can introduce them if you want. I don't want to ruin your fun. Go
That's
for
no
it.
problem. I saw Ann out in the audience. Ann handled a grants programs for the county.
How about if you stand up so that the.
Excuse me, I was signing in.
Well, there you are.
Hi, everyone, I'm Ann McCauley. I'm the Grants and Purchasing Director for Lewis and Clark County.
And I know Shae's on the agenda for extension, but there's Shae. And
Stand up.
there was somebody else with you too today.
Thank you. Introduce your cohort.
Oh, yes, I'm Shae Bruursema. I'm with the Extension Department in Lewis and Clark County. And I have Chloe and Emily and Sophia all here with me today. And we'll just give a short spiel towards the end of the meeting to tell you what we have to offer. So,
Right, and I know I saw Angie from planning. Oh, thank you, Angie.
Angie Herbert, planner in Lewis and Clark County.
And Misty, of course, I think most folks know, but Misty from
I didn't see
county.
Misty sneak in.
Oh, did I miss Rachel? Where's
Rachel's
Rachel?
right here.
Oh, there's Rachel. And hopefully I missed her. Rachel's with our planning department. And of course, Jay from the health department.
Jay from what?
From environmental over at our health department.
That's who you are. This happens to me all the time. Sorry. Okay,
Thank you,
nice to
Commissioner.
be here,
Thank
Jay.
you.
Okay. Are we ready for the,
Yes.
we are now ready for our friend Sheriff Dutton to tell us all the stuff that's going on in the world of law enforcement. And you'll notice he walks right up and goes to the podium. He is trained.
Trained, howdy. Boy, I was, good morning, everyone. I was happy to see you all came to see me. Usually there's hardly anybody who show up, so this is awesome. What's more importantly awesome is I get to recycle one of my old jokes because none of you have heard it. So, there's a, go back to sleep, Josh. Anyway, this guy walks into a bar and he says, "Bartender, I'd like 10 shots of tequila." "Really?" He says, "Now I bet you I can drink them right down." He goes, "Okay," so pours them out. Guy comes up and goes, "Blam, blam, 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 blam," just drinks them right down. Bartender says, "Now that was impressive. That was impressive." Guy looks and goes, "Well, you don't have what I have." And he goes, "All right, well, I'll give you 10 more to see that." So does, just slam, 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 10 shots of tequila down. He goes, What makes you do that?" He goes, "Well, you don't have what I have." He said, What do I have you don't have?" He says, "I don't have any money." Anyway, you hadn't heard it.
I haven't heard it. This is,
Yeah?
no, this
All
is.
right. I feel
I
blessed.
think we should remember that when it's budget time.
We will remember that when it's
Yeah.
budget time.
Yep, I have no money. Yeah.
We have no money.
Sure, yep. All right, well, there is a fair amount going on with the sheriff's office. And the count this morning in your detention center was about 130, which is down considerably. Some of the programs that you asked us to do in 2018 are working. That's the pretrial program, getting people out and reporting into a system. It's actually, I know it's has a controversy to it because they don't have to put up a cash bond, but they have to report to a kind of somewhat of a probation officer about 3 times a week. They have to go to counseling, and they make their court date. So it's been highly successful. We have about 400 in that program. If we didn't have 400 in that program, we would have 500 and some in our jail. So in your jail, not mine, you own it, and I operate it. So thank you for that. We're trying to put everything that you asked us to do in 2018 together. Lewis and Clark County is growing, and probably by 2034, the population will have grown by 15%. Also, you should know that all statistics made up on the spot, 34.4% are inaccurate. So we're on that out there. Anyway, you'll see some law enforcement activity around, more so. We're all headed to Indian Meadows. And then we're headed north from there to Webb Lake. And you'll see, probably driving around, you'll see deputies, you'll see some of the state mobiles, maybe they're kind of incognito. And maybe you'll see the FBI and you'll see some Forest Service. We're doing a class. and it's called Backcountry Homicide Investigation Class, where we designed a class. The classroom starts on Monday in Helena with Assistant U.S. Attorney, the Deputy County Attorney, and maybe a Deputy Attorney from the Attorney General's office coming in and saying what's important to them for a successful prosecution. And then we're going to go into some survival in the wilderness, because some of these detectives don't, maybe have some increased pulse rate when they hit streetlights. But some of our detectives are used to that. So we'll go through the class or the day of training. They'll get wilderness training, bear awareness, all of those kind of things. So the scene, I'll just tell you, the scene is two people kill someone down in Collab, Utah, and they steal a vehicle and they come to Lincoln. Kind of just that natural attraction, not like the Unabomber type thing, but because we know where they're headed. So well, he was here, he got even had a library card. So, they come here, then a local outfitter spots the vehicle and thinks it's suspicious, calls it in, and investigates further, and there's a dead body in the car. So you'll see the crime scene team come up, and that's as far as they can get on foot. And then the artificialities are that it's bad weather, so they can't fly because we're cooperating with the Forest Service in the wilderness area, that they are good partners and they're helping us out other than when they steal our antennas. But it's all good now. Anyway, we share equipment. So the artificiality is that the bad weather, you can't get there. So what that teaches them is resource allocation. How are they going to get there? They'll find out that there is a second crime scene that they have to get to, that they can't use helicopters. Normally we would, but this is a training mission. So those people who like to enjoy the outdoors and are enjoying the wilderness area, we reserve that right for when there's actually an emergency. So it's easy to explain. I've done that. I've had to defend myself all the way to Washington, D.C. So we came up with a workable plan. Anyway, they'll go back, and I don't even have to put a time crunch on them. I don't. There will be, but if you have a dead body in the wilderness, I'm not the bad guy. Really, I didn't kill him either, but the thing that gives you the time crunch on a dead body in the wilderness are not necessarily the flora, but fauna. Flora and fauna, the bears, the mountain lions, and the wolves. So whether there's a dead body or not, there still exists some grizzle bears back there. So we're going to tell them, okay, time is of the essence. And anywhere you go in Montana, pretty much, at least Montana, the coroner's office is in charge of a body. And that includes a federal reservation, that includes what they call a national defense area. So if you were to see not that I know, but just let's suppose that we're straying off the point here, but if you were, if the Air Force was moving what they would call an asset, something that goes boom and we all turn yellow, that kind of a thing, and there's a dead body, I still have jurisdiction over a body there. We work well together. Ever since the Koreans started getting nasty, we've had a great relationship about how to communicate during that. Back to Lincoln. So the Forest Service is called a prescriptive forest, or this is a prescriptive forest, meaning that a sheriff has jurisdiction for the criminal code. So the 45 codes and things like that. But I'm telling you right now, we can't do it all. We do great work in the wilderness because we partner with the Forest Service. They also have law enforcement people. I have the first right of enforcing the things, and God bless them, they don't have to do the homicide investigations or the PFMA partner family member assaults and things like that. We work well together. also bring in the FBI because of this scenario, we'll naturally draw it in. Now, I can figure out what you're thinking, has this really ever happened? And the answer is yes, not here. But in the Frank Church Wilderness down in Idaho, they had an individual that went off his rocker in California. I'm so shocked, even from California, I apologize ahead of time. But he escapes, takes his daughter, and ends up in the Frank Church Wilderness area, and he killed several people. So it happens, it just happens here. And sometimes a way to avoid a true emergency is to prepare for it. So we get to go out and work for the day that may never come. And we hope it never comes. But if it does, you expect us to be ready. That's just one element of what's going on. Next week is the Sheriff's Convention. The week after that is a National Sheriff's Convention, where I'll go down and represent Montana. So there's a lot of things that happen, a lot of things that I get to do, just like the commissioners get to represent us here, the state, and then on the national stage. All of that, and then I'm gonna introduce Corporal Kreiner. He is the guy I have in charge up here for the Lincoln Rodeo. So come on up.
I didn't prepare speech.
Good, neither did I. It just comes natural whether they like it or not. Anyway, just tell them about how many you got scheduled and then answer any questions. Give them a phone number, not mine.
Again, I'm Corporal Kreiner. I was lucky enough to be tasked with the Lincoln Rodeo, so I'll be the point of contact in the incident, or operations commander for incident up here, or for the rodeo. So we're scheduled to have quite a bit of reserves. I don't have an exact number yet. We actually have a graduating class right now that will be graduating a week from today. Some eager reserves to come out and do some police work, so it's a perfect timing for us because we need the numbers. On top of that, we'll have full-time, the full deputies up here in combination with our North Patrol deputies that cover the Lincoln, Wolf Creek, and Augusta area. So, yeah, looking forward to a fun weekend. Hopefully it's not rainy, and hopefully we don't have any smoke or fires either. So, yeah, if you guys have questions from now, and we're about a month out, or something you think it might be beneficial for us to know in preparation for this, we're going through the preparation parts right now, and I'm working with our head of our reserve program to come up with game plans and where we're gonna have people and at what times and what fits best. So feel free to get a hold of the Sheriff's Office. If you just call the number, the 447-8235, and you ask for Corporal Kreiner, they'll leave me a message, and next time I'm working, I'll be able to get a hold of you. So looking forward to it. So I haven't got to work the Lincoln Rodeo as a law enforcement officer. I've been up here as a patron, but should be a fun.
Sober this time.
Yep. So we're looking forward to it. So yeah. Other than that, if you guys have any questions.
What's the time limit on the parade?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. All right.
Are we gonna try for that this time?
I always try for it.
Well, are you riding
It
horseback?
is
Sure.
great.
So no.
Yeah, are you riding in it?
Yes.
Then we won't make it.
We always get there first, I mean, to the end of the road.
We'll fix that this year.
The rest of the time, everybody's chasing after the beer bunny. So,
They're
If we
mad
can
at
get
us.
some of the cattle prod behind us horse.
there you go. There you go. Well, not.
Don't be throwing candy, Leo. That'll help.
Hmm?
Don't be throwing candy, that'll help. You have to hand it out, so you have to get off the horse.
Oh, Lord, that would delay things.
We don't have a problem getting off.
3 hours.
Thank you, Corporal.
Yep. Thank you guys.
And then we have the community council report from our friend Zach.
We didn't really have, we tried to have a meeting, unfortunately I was out of town, and the Zoom is attached to my laptop and no one else could get on it, so the county couldn't get involved. But they did have a meeting, I showed up really late, just discuss some different ideas for Lincoln, you know, different places for different things, ball fields. Just planning for the future, trying to make it a little more friendly towards the locals and friendly towards the people that come here to recreate. What else was there, Eric? I wasn't there for the whole thing.
The signage and.
Yeah, trying to
For the
get
event.
signage for, you know, especially for poker runs and whatnot, side-by-sides are an issue, we've talked about it for years. It's actually getting better with the side-by-sides on the shoulders, and I've been proactive in reaching out to the coordinators of the poker runs or fun runs, whatever you're gonna call them now, to get them to announce that people need to ride the side-by-sides, four-wheelers, dirt bikes, whatever. They have to be licensed, and they're supposed to be on Main Street, not on the shoulders. We've had too many, I've witnessed several, where people, customers pulling out of a business, pull out and damn near get smoked. Or the side-by-side gets smoked. One happened with my wife's store, she pulled out, she was sitting there waiting, and the side-by-side wasn't paying attention, damn near hit her, and then yelled at her for being in his way, and he's on the shoulder. So, I know our North Deputy Chance has been proactive in that. Our trooper, when he's around, he's not really our trooper, he just lives here, he works in the Helena Valley, and I think lately he's been teaching at the academy, so he hasn't been here much. But when he is on duty, he tries to do half hour, 45 minutes here, at the beginning, at the end of his shifts, as much as he can. Right now, I believe he's working nights in Helena anyway, so it's not that effective for the side-by-sides. So if you know people that, or you are one of them, whichever, make sure on Main Street from Sucker Creek to First, they have to be on the road like a car. Out of town, north side of the highway, in the bottom of the borrow pit. I see DOT came out and they, whatever they did, tried to blade the ditches to get people, because everybody wants to run side by side, so the one's in the bottom, the other one's getting up towards the fog line on the shoulder, and it's a hazard. Somebody's gonna get hit. So I think that's why they bladed the upper, towards the road a little bit more to try and get rid of that trail. So north side of the highway, don't dust everybody out, because it is a privilege we have, and DOT has tried many times to shut that down, and we've begged and pleaded and tried to convince them to let us keep it, and that'll hurt us, especially in the winter for snowmobiles, because they can't just go down the highway if they shut down the borrow pits. And then in town, kids have to be with their parents with a helmet. They need to have a driver's license, but if they don't, it's a little loose in Lincoln. Four-wheelers, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, whatever, they're not supposed to be riding them to school. It's supposed to be with their parent figure to get from the house to the trails and out of town. But as long as they're not drawing attention to themselves by tearing down the road and doing stupid things, law enforcement generally leaves them alone. But again, that's a privilege we have, and it all started with the snowmobiles. The snowmobiles, we got permission to ride in town to get from our homes to the trails, not from our homes to the bar, to the next bar, to the gas station, back to the bar. So please don't abuse that, or we will lose it. And right now, Lincoln depends on recreation and tourism. That's what we have. We don't really have anything else. We lose that, we start losing that tourism and recreation dollars, and the economy's going to tank. So we need to protect what we have and not abuse it. On my other hat is the fire chief. I'm probably gonna close burning on the 15th. I gave a 10-day notice yesterday on Facebook. It's dry. We did not get even close to our average rain. I think we got 2 inches in town. It's spotty, different areas got a little bit more, some got a little less. But if we don't get any significant rain next week, we're gonna shut it down the 15th. So if you have burning to do that you haven't done when it was wetter, get it done, be careful, and remember, you light it, you own it, whatever it does. Other than that, I think that's it.
Thank you, Zach. Do you have any questions for him, Tom? Andy, do you have any questions for him? All right, thank you for your report, Zach. Up next is our Forest Service report, Jim. And I understand he's going to have to leave us immediately afterwards.
Sure. Jim Yarbo, Lincoln District Ranger, a couple hot topics. Well, I have more than a couple now. I absolutely love posting the sheriff and the FBI, law enforcement in the wilderness for the wilderness training, and I'll do everything I can to help them out in a real scenario or training scenario. Same with the military. My authority only goes so far. I go to the forest group and there's all the paperwork and stuff I gotta do, but that's first. Second, Dalton Mountain Road to Forest Service Road 1822. 1822 will open July 1st, and there's firewood, there's logging decks back there that we're opening to firewood cutters. So the locals can go cut that stuff up and haul it out of there. You still have to have a permit to do that, right? So you're more than welcome up there after the gate opens. There's quite a bit up there, so people will go up there and work on it and have to pay attention to what they're doing. It's right beside the road. Just clean up after yourselves, that's all I ask. I'll end with the fire danger. So I saw this morning's weather report, weather forecast, long range forecast, and it's bleak. So we had 2 wildfires. We had Hogan fire, and they jumped on that and called it out within 24 hours. And we have Dry Creek Fire, which is actually in Powell County, and it's on the other side of Huckleberry Pass. That fire, they're still monitoring. They haven't found any heat and smoke in it lately, but it's gonna get hot this weekend, so they're keeping it open. We have hose lay all the way around it. It's only 3 acres. It's heavy, dead and down jackstraw timber. Everything they did, they had to cut to move anywhere within the fire with a chainsaw. So with chainsaws, we had a hot shot crew on it. They got dispatched to Canada. But we have plenty of other crews sitting out there right now on it daily, and we'll be monitoring that through the weekend and then into next week, and we'll see how things look after that. We're not willing to call it yet. It's still too soon. So we're on that. Back to the fire weather forecast. The fires in both of those locations, the heavies were burning. So the big logs were burning. The 1,000-hour fuels and larger 100-hour fuels, they were all on fire. The grass is what wouldn't burn. But once it gets dry enough and hot enough, it burns as well. So the fuel moisture is very low right now throughout the forest, and especially in Powell County. Western Montana and Idaho are target right now. They're really watching. Weather forecasters are watching that close. The fire fuels folks in those locations are gathering data and sending it to the weather forecasters weekly just to follow the trends and see what's going on. What's happening is it's shaping up to be a year similar to 2006, 2017, and 2021 so far as fire is concerned. The weather patterns look very similar to those other years, right? Powell County is, let's see, I think Powell County is as dry now as we were in 2000. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. Until we get some significant moisture, not in the forecast right now. So the monsoon moisture looks like it's going to push up through Colorado instead of looking around through the Great Basin. At least that's what they're saying. They've been consistent with that message for, I don't know, about a month now or so. So we have that to look forward to. That's what I have. That's it.
On that note too, Jim,
Excuse me.
sorry,
Go to the chair.
sorry.
Zach, would you move up? You know the drill.
So we did move to moderate for fire danger, as of today. And then also the thing to keep in mind about 17 and 06 is we had a lot of snow in the mountains. 17 we had flooding prior to those fires. So we had a lot of water, but we don't have a lot of water now. I mean, as you probably saw, Reservoir Lake last winter, last summer, last spring, all through was bone dry, and that don't happen. So there's gonna be a lot of places it's gonna create issues where we can't get water like we normally do. And the shortage of you know, everywhere for firefighters because there's so many fires going on, so it could be really rough, so please be careful out there. Make sure your fires are out, you know, mix them up, a lot of water. If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. So water is gonna be a big issue for us. Blackfoot last year, never got muddy. This year, never got muddy. It did get a little dirty one day, but it was still blue. So just be very careful. It's not a good year. It's gonna be really bad.
We move into moderate when Zach and when DNRC decides to go to moderate, we follow what they do. Because we want to be consistent for all the injury, even though I'm feeling sure.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Tom, any questions for him? Andy, any questions? Thank you. And you may be excused.
Thank you, ma'am.
He's got work to do.
Thank you.
Public Works Report, Jenny Chambers.
Good morning, Jenny Chambers, Stark County Public Works Director. Not a lot going on right now, but a few updates for you guys. In the road department, we're just continuing with grading. Grading continues all season long. We grade a road, weather hits, doesn't hit, traffic increases, we go back and regrade that road. High traffic roads, if they're gravel, they get graded multiple times of the year. Our goal is at least to do a spring grading and a fall grading, so if we haven't got out there yet, that's the goal, and just keep in mind they try to prioritize those the best they can for the different locations. We have guardrail materials have finally arrived. We did a guardrail package order. There was a area on the Blackfoot Bridge on Stimple that got hit. We had to order that guardrail package. It is finally in now, and so pretty soon the bridge that guardrail will be repaired. The bridge crew will be out here doing that work shortly. Some things that are updated in the area that's not really within Lincoln, but in Augusta country. We just finished Highway 435, in case you guys ever travel on 435. We did a crack seal, chip seal, and fog seal on that road. And they're working on, we've got crews working today. My road crew typically works 410s, but they're out there sweeping Highway 435 today to pick up those chips so we can get it open hopefully on Monday after the weekend. Get that completed. There are potholes up in Lincoln, imagine that, potholes everywhere. We do have a list of those potholes and hopefully coordinate a day this month in June to send our patch truck up with a couple other guys as well to help Kenny, the equipment operator, get those potholes patched. So just know that they're on our radar and will get addressed. I wanted to give an update on magnesium chloride, our supply for magnesium chloride. Typically our goal is to come up here and do dust suppression on the gravel roads, at least for like the Stimple, maybe Dalton Mountain, some of the more highly traffic roads before the July 4th season kicks off. We get a lot more recreational tourists up here in this area. We won't have MEG available probably until mid-July. In public works that are complex in the city, in the Hamlet area, we are having a project right now where we're replacing our MEG tanks and our AST fuel islands. So we are waiting for that project to be completed, which is probably going to be the end of June, first part of July. Then we got to work with the vendor to get our supply ordered, to get them delivered, to get MEG on hand in order to even start applying MEG within the county. So it'll probably be mid-July before we get any MEG chloride for dust suppression out within the county this year. So that's countywide. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we're still recruiting for an operator. So we do have 2 positions up in Lincoln. We have the district operator, then we have an equipment operator as well. So it's a 2-man team, or female team, whatever. If anybody's welcome to apply. It's open until filled. So if you know anybody that has a CDL that's interested in getting their foot in the door, it's a pretty good position. It's certainly advertised, so we're working on that recruitment. I did get one update from MBT, just to give an update on some of their activities in the area. Everybody may know last year they did an asphalt overlay on Fletcher Pass. They're scheduled to do that cover work, which is a chip seal and I think a scrub seal, starting June 23rd. So if you're traveling between Lincoln and Helena, just know that MDT is gonna be have a contractor, they're doing the work on June 23rd on Pleasure Pass. The last thing I wanted to provide was kind of an attaboy, a shout out to your guys' Lincoln Sewer District operator, Chris, I believe is his name. He's just been really a pleasure to work with. We coordinate a lot on activities where they have to work on a sewer line or water line and dig on the county roads or adjacent to our encroachment on the right of way. And he's just been really helpful with insurance compliance, giving us notification, coordinating with the road department on when he has to do that work. And also has provided information to other folks as well, just to say what those requirements are. So if you see him, please tell him that we say a huge thank you. It's just been a pleasure to work with. So that's all we have today, commissioners.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you're the only one from Public Works?
I am the only one here today for Public Works.
Lincoln Sewer District, if you want me to go behind it.
Is,
Eric Rule, Lincoln Sewer District.
yeah, I'm just trying to see if you are already, you've got several things on our list.
But I will pass that on.
No, it's
He's just representing Lewis, and he'll pass that, the thank you on to Chris.
perfect. All right. Do you have any questions for him? No. All right. Next up is the public health reports. Somebody stand up and talk. All right. Well, there's several people in here that look suspiciously like they might be. You go ahead.
I'm Jay Plant with Lewis and Clark Public Health Environmental Division. Environmental Division, we cover a number of things. We do on-site wastewater, permitting, inspecting, any sewage complaints. We deal with air quality in the county, community decay, junk vehicles. What am I missing? You usually know what I do.
I think you got this.
Okay. So the main thing I wanted to mention, yeah, we are getting into wildfire season, which means we will be dealing with wildfire smoke, which is becoming more and more common. We're dealing with longer fire seasons with a lot of the prescribed burning that's going on, and we're dealing with winter airtime air quality. So basically, it's become a year-round issue, and people need to look at ways to protect themselves. And one thing we are strongly stressing as we get into the summer months, if you don't have a room air purifier, air cleaner, I strongly suggest that you get one. A lot of people think, well, if I close my windows at night, turn the air conditioner on, it's clean inside. Yes, and a lot of that smoke is getting inside. A lot of what you're doing with your cooking affects the inside air quality. So sometimes inside air quality is actually worse than the outside. So if you can have one room in that house where you can keep it clean, help protect yourself, the better. And it does help your mental health also. And right now, Northwest Energy, I believe they're still doing it. They were doing it for last year, unless the program's been cut. But they are offering a grant. If you purchase a room air purifier, they will reimburse you $100. And I just did one at Costco. I think I paid $120 for it. They reimbursed me $100. So you can get a pretty good one for around $100. Definitely, it's good to have somewhere in your house, at least at night when you're sleeping. So, but aside from that, air quality, we're just finishing up our groundwater monitoring season up here, and as we're talking about with the dry season, we're seeing their groundwater levels are down from typical average. So anybody who needs to do that for permitting for a septic system, probably going to be looking at starting next spring. So other than that, we do have a few community decay complaints up here we're working on, which is a very slow process. So if anybody's dealing with that, I know Zach, we worked on a few of them. Some of them we're going through the county attorney. So be patient on any of those. There's a couple others we're dealing with that are taking some time, so. But that's about all I have.
Second, no?
Go.
Do you have any questions, Tom?
Yes.
Do you have any questions? Ken? Come on, you do it. You're not.
You want me to ask him a question?
One. We don't have.
Oh, one thing before you ask that question, I do have some handouts if anybody's interested in ways to protect themselves during wildfire season. I'll have those sitting there. You can also go to our website at lewisandclarkpublichealth.org, and we have a lot of informational things on air quality and smoke and things like that. So.
All right. Chair Payne, Jay, if somebody does believe they're witnessing community decay or something that's bothering them, what's the process? How do they get hold of you? How do they know? Just a little bit on that.
Well,
often
yeah.
people say my neighbor or whomever has this in their yard, and sometimes it's not actually community decay or junk.
Yeah.
So maybe just describe that.
So as part of our county ordinance, community decay covers a number of things. One of them being garbage. Garbage that should be contained inside a waste container. You know, if people just throw their garbage out in the yard, that's an obvious violation. And that's our main concern because that is a health threat. We have rodents, so on and so forth, that can get in there, flies, so on and so forth. Things like a bunch of debris, you know, unwanted items thrown out in the yard, you know, depending on the amount. If it's a few items, generally we'll end up in court and those will get thrown out. So we look at large scale items, you know, items that, say lawnmowers, discarded lawnmowers, motorbikes, snowmobiles, things like that people don't usually throw out anywhere. Junk vehicles can fit into our community decay ordinance. Problem with junk vehicles is just because the car doesn't look good and they may have several cars sitting in their yard, does not mean that they fit the community decay ordinance. For a junk vehicle to be a junk vehicle, it has to meet 4 things. One, it has to be wrecked or dismantled. It has to be unlicensed and incapable of being driven. And the big one, it has to be visible from the center line of a public roadway. So if it does not meet all those things at the same time, it is not considered a junk vehicle. Yes, it may be an eyesore, but it doesn't mean that we can do any enforcement on it. So I would say we can take a look at it. If you're unsure, we'll come back and look at them. We'll contact the owner if necessary and do a walk around. We've had several cars that meet everything except they have a license. They've been licensed. We've had people license car chassis that, you know, there's nothing to them, but we can't touch them at that point. So usually it depends on what's there. If it's items like firewood, it gets into, you know, people just throw it out in their yard. If it's not stacked orderly, potentially we can enforce that. But if it has a use and they're using it, it's pretty tough for us to win that one in court.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Flint, appreciate your. Uh-oh. Okay, moving on into other business. There is, it's Misty, there she is. Misty, Resolution 2025-35, intention to create additional user fees as recommended by the Lincoln Solid Waste District. Being presented by our friends, go for it.
Morning, Commissioner. For those of you that don't know me, Misty Edwards, I'm in the County Finance Office. And I also manage the budget for the Lincoln Solid Waste District, which brings me up here today. And the first thing I want to talk about is a resolution of intention to create 2 new user fees. The first being a construction and demolition fee in the amount of $15 a cubic yard. And the second being a furniture fee that has 2 classifications: mattresses and box springs for $7 each, and couches and sofas for $10 each. The resolution of intent intent to create the fees will be advertised in the Helena IR 3 times, June 7th, 14th, and 21st. Written public comment will be accepted until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, June 25th at the Lewis and Clark County Clerk and Recorder's Office. And the public hearing has been scheduled for Thursday, June 26th at 9 a.m. to consider the item and hold a public hearing. Staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners approve the resolution of intent and open the public comment period. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Chair Payne.
Oh, Andy, you have a question, please proceed.
It's Edwards. No, I just want to clarify, make sure people understand. I'm sure most do, but what does this mean? So construction, demo, furniture fee, that means if I have a couch I want to throw out, when I bring it to the transfer station, it's going to cost me something and the fee will be established. Is
Yes.
that essentially what we're talking about? I just wanted to give people
Yes,
more
this
detail.
is establishing that fee that you will pay. It's not part of your permit. The main item the permit covers is municipal household waste. And because we are going to transition to the county landfill, taking our waste, they have a fee for these items, and so we have to recover that cost as well, so.
And what is construction and demo? What does that mean?
I should have brought a
General,
postcard in.
you may not have all.
Yeah, so the construction and demolition waste is for anything greater than 2 cubic yards. So if you're doing a small home renovation project and you have a yard, you can bring it out and not pay, it'll just go on your permit. Construction and demolition waste, according to the EPA, is essentially things like your cupboards, cinder blocks, asphalt shingles. There is a definition and the.
So if I tore down my garage or something and wanted to dump it,
That is construction and demolition waste,
Okay.
yes.
thank you. Thanks.
Just wanted to make a comment for those of you that live up here. Misty's been doing a great job of keeping track of the costs, and we're about to face a huge increase in costs working with Republic. She's worked out a deal with landfill and our regular landfill down in the Helen area. Gonna be hauling it there. We're gonna be doing it all in-house. So now, for the first time in forever almost, the whole county is being handled through the landfill down in the Helen area, and it's gonna save money for those of you who live up here. And I really appreciate her attention to the detail and putting this all together for us.
I'll just expand on that. Yes, we are terminating our contract with Republic Services for the waste hauling out of the container site. The costs were astronomical, and so we're moving to the landfill. I'm not sure what that's gonna do for those of you who have contracted with Republic Services for pickup. I've engaged them in conversation, asking, if they would continue the service, how it will look. I'm aware of the concerns up here with bear issues that, businesses need the 4-yarders. People that live on the outskirts, you need to be bear aware. And I do believe they'll continue. I just don't think it'll operate out of the Lincoln transfer station. I think they'll just send somebody up from Great Falls. I don't know what that'll do for your fees. Unfortunately, that is not a part of our contract with Republic Services. They just contract with us for the landfill hauling, and they provide the attendant, so we will have to hire an attendant. Anybody have any questions about that? Yep.
Eric Gould, Veterans Association.
Would you, step up?
Oh, this one. One of the questions we brought up, I know y'all are transitioning, but we know services have been cut off at the county level now. Aluminum cans, they're not taking them, they're not recycling. So we had to take that over locally so that it doesn't end up being dumped out on the side of the roads or disposed in the thing. If you start going into furniture and heavier items, my issue would be is what's the county gonna address when they start dumping them at the end of the roads? People don't take them to a designated area, they just discard this stuff. Because we already have trouble enough with the weekend, like poker runs and stuff and trash pickup. Now you're telling us now we're going to do this cleanup, we're not going to be able to dump it without having higher fees. I don't think we're really taking in what's happening here in Lincoln. the services are already being cut off. Cardboard, gone. Our recycling bins, we used to hear, they're all gone. So the recycling's already been eliminated, and now you got aluminum cans and stuff, and now you're talking about heavy furniture and stuff going also to higher fees. For us, we took over the aluminum can recycling here locally, so everybody locally could dump the aluminum cans at the vet center, and then we're transporting them down to Pacific Steel, which that revenue turns around and goes back to our community youth programs, sports programs. So that's how we're trying to help fill this. I just think raising the prices right now with the low income venue we have up here is not gonna help us, it's actually gonna hinder us, or people gonna start dumping other places besides taking it out to the designated dump area.
Thank you.
Yep.
Misty, do you want to respond to that?
Sure. Commissioner Payne, I will say that the site does offer cardboard recycling. It does offer aluminum. It was suspended briefly because Pacific stopped their process, but we've worked with them. And there should be big seed sacks out there that you can now recycle aluminum in. So that's back. It was gone for about a month. I have no answer for people dumping their unwanted items in the ditch. That's illegal. I would hope it wouldn't happen. We're going to get charged these at the land for these fees. The only other way to do it, to recover that cost, would be to increase the assessment and spread it out to everybody in the district, or we can just charge the users specifically for those items.
Sure thing.
Andy?
So, just to clarify, the day-to-day, how much, I can't remember how much you get with your permit.
You get 12 cubic yards.
12 cubic yards. So that's not changing. It's just beyond that 12 cubic yards, if you want to buy all new furniture and dump your old stuff, you have to pay for those large items, because to bring it to the landfill, we get charged, the district will get charged for that. So the people bringing those large items are the ones that should probably pay for them versus everybody in the district. Is that
That is correct.
how it works? Okay. So, and then the other thing, I think it was if I remember right, because I think I was on the board at that time, but it was the Republic fees for recycling that were got completely out of hand that the district couldn't keep up. That's why we lost these here. They were charging so much to have them here, monthly rental plus the hauling fees were crazy.
That's true, Commissioner Payne. So we were charged monthly rental for those that were there. And then to haul those, each time we hauled, it was a minimum $600 a trip. We saw absolutely no revenue from that program. So your solid waste assessment, which is meant to cover the operations of the site and municipal solid waste, was essentially subsidizing recycling. So we had to make some decisions and cut those, but we tried to offer it out at the site. And plastic is back, the paper is not. Again, it's a cost item.
So just one more question. So if I want to recycle, I live here in town, I want to recycle plastic, aluminum, and cardboard are all accepted at the site.
Commissioner Hunthausen, just aluminum and cardboard, yes.
Oh, I thought you just
We
said plastic.
suspended plastics
Okay.
several years ago. So did Augusta.
I thought you just said it was back, so I missed.
Sorry,
it.
aluminum, yeah.
Yeah, aluminum. Okay, aluminum and cardboard are accepted.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no further questions, thank you, Misty. Now, this resolution will be presented for formal action.
Commissioner Payne, I need this resolution, this is my formal action, so you need.
Do we need to vote on it
Yes, you
here
need to
today?
do a motion on
I'm
this
glad I
today.
got that figured out.
Yes, and then I will be back in 3 weeks to present the actual resolution after public comment.
So,
This is the intention, so and it opens the public comment.
Okay, do we have to have a motion to open?
Yes.
All right. Debbie's under control here, guys. Gentlemen, we have in front of us this resolution as presented by Misty Edwards. And I think it would be appropriate if we had a motion on this.
Have we got all the public comment we look out for?
Well, I guess I was going to do the public comment. You're right. I don't have my itinerary in front of me, so. Is there any public comment on these resolutions? If there is, you can draw right up there and give them the record. See? Oh, there he is. I knew he'd stand up and help us with this situation.
Bob Wachowski, 4059 4x4 Road. I just wanted to dovetail off of someone Eric said. I think if this resolution passes, there's gonna be more of an increased cost than just the cost of dumping your couch, because a lot of people, we all know that they're out there, we hope that they aren't, but they are. Instead of paying to dump their couch, they're gonna do one of two things, or one of three things. They're gonna go out to the forest, and they're gonna dump it out there. Or they're gonna find somewhere and burn it, which causes issues there too. Or they're gonna leave it sit out in their front yard, so that we have the community decay thing. So I think everybody's aware that we'd all like things to be the way that we want them to be, and they're not, because people aren't that way a lot of times. So I guess if you see the guy driving around the forest with a couch and a love seat in the back of his truck, he's probably not driving around the forest to put it around the campfire and have a comfortable stay. It's probably gonna get dumped. So if people are aware, and just maybe make a note of that license plate number and description of the vehicle, and that way if that thing does end up getting dumped out there, it can get turned over to Forest Service law enforcement or the sheriff's office, I guess, which is, trust me, that's the last thing they want to investigate, but it's just more to everybody's plate. So just if everybody's aware of what that looks like, I mean, that's all I have.
Thank you for their comments. Very helpful. Andy wants to say something.
I just want to clarify, that, we have one more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kristen Baker Dickinson, I'm here representing Montana DNRC today. And I would just like to note that there are equal concerns as a land manager that we could see increased dumping. And I just want to acknowledge that I can't speak for other entities, but it's certainly not something that we budget for, nor do we have personnel to typically deal with on a case-by-case basis. So I would just like to reflect that this could have an impact upon our resource management.
Yep, just a minute. Implementation of these fees.
Yes, that it could result in.
More dumping.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. By the way, would you spell your name, please?
KRISTEN BAKER
Oh, okay.
DICKINSON.
Thank you. Were you going to comment, Mr.?
Well, after public comment, I would.
Any further public comment?
Sure.
I think that's what we're gonna do. Okay. It is appropriate to, put this in the form of a motion. Gentlemen, what do you have?
Chair Payne, I would move to approve resolution 2025-35, intention to create additional user fees as recommended by the Lincoln Solid Waste District.
Second.
And presented by Misty Whithead.
Second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. And now, let's see, let's some comments here by the county commissioners.
Sure.
Andy?
So just a reminder for folks, and I guess you said this in her presentation, but passing this resolution just opens the comment period. So the comments we've already had are great, and this gives us a 3-week period to take comments. It isn't a decision on necessarily yet on the fees, but it is a opening of the comment period. It's in our intent to initiate this discussion in the community. So I just want to make sure people are clear. Thanks.
It's so good to have a person with 18 years of experience reminding us of how we're supposed to do this, to make sure all interests are addressed. Tom, do you have some?
Nothing else.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution 2025-35 with intention to create additional user fees as recommended by the Lincoln Solid Waste District, to open the public comment period on this. Is there any further comments from?
Pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, in that case, all in favor of this resolution indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Misty, yeah, just a second. Misty, one more question I have. People want to comment, they get on the website. I mean, how do they go? Do they send us an Instagram, or I mean, because it's obviously a concern to all of us.
Commissioner Payne, yes, concerns are valid. They can submit written comment to the clerk and recorder's office, 316 North Park Avenue in Helena, and that address is available on our website. You can also email them to me as well. It's medwards@lccountymt.gov. I believe my email address is on the website. Not sure, but
Okay, thank you, Misty.
And Commissioner Payne, our email addresses are on the website.
Yes.
So, yeah, we would pass
They're
those.
gonna send comments to us?
We could pass those on to Misty.
Yes.
Yes, okay, yeah, we're getting your mouse spot. I see she's a concern. We do. Okay. Moving right along. We have a presentation by the Lewis and Clark County Extension by Miss Shae Bruursema. Uh-oh, and then she brought her crew.
Yes, commissioners, everyone, good morning. My name is Shae Bruursema, and we are representatives of the Lewis and Clark County Extension Office. So basically, Extension is here in our county, and we want to provide these services to all of you up here in Lincoln. The purpose of Extension is to improve the lives and communities of the state by providing unbiased, research-based education that integrates learning, discovery, and engagement. So again, we want to make sure that we are hitting all corners of Lewis and Clark County, and that definitely includes Lincoln. So we would love to come up here and provide services to you all. We're just going to give a little short kind of spiel about what each of us do and what we can provide, and then we have resources and cards in the back that you could pick up and take with you or ask us questions at the end of the meeting. So my role is Family and Consumer Sciences and Community Vitality. Underneath my Family and Consumer Sciences hat, I hit all things healthy living, so things from food preservation to exercise to human development and family economics. And then under my Community Vitality umbrella, I hit things like helping just build local capacity so that organizations and community members can make the change that they want to see in their communities and just do better in their communities. So if you have any questions about that, I'll be around after the meeting and can definitely answer them, and then I'll let everyone else kind of explain what they have to offer.
Thank you, Shae.
There you go. Okay. Hi, I'm Chloe Lindquist. I'm the SNAP Ed instructor here in Lewis and Clark County.
Would you talk a little more slowly?
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
people have trouble hearing this thing, so say it again, kid.
I'm Chloe Lindquist. I'm the SNAP Ed instructor in Lewis and Clark County. I teach nutrition and cooking classes free, and we talk about stretching our food dollars. It's more focused on low-income individuals and families, but everyone is welcome. And we teach adults and youth, and we would love to bring those classes to Lincoln.
Where would be a place that you could give these
Good question. That they can be held at the library, at the senior center, the school. I've done classes in parks before, so I can pretty much make any location work as long as I have an audience.
Okay. Great to know.
I'm Emily Markison, and I'm the admin at the Extension Office. Today I'm here to represent Alicia Schmidt, who's our 4-H agent. She was not able to make it today. But we do not have any clubs in Lincoln. We would love to kind of spread that to Lincoln. 4-H and youth development is just a huge part of the youth and kind of getting them to adulthood. So yeah.
Thank you. I'm Sophia Russellers. I'm the agriculture and horticulture agent for Lewis and Clark County.
of agriculture and horticultural questions that you may have. Open to anyone, free service, and we take samples, we figure out what kind of bug, pest, anything you've got going on with your plants. You can bring those to me, you can call the office, we can answer those. We do site visits too if you've got a more particular problem that you need help with. And we also provide workshops, classes, anything that the community is interested in, so we'd love to bring those to Lincoln as well. Anything that we find interesting, kind of like Chloe was saying, we can provide classes for those, so we do like different kinds of classes, right? Pruning classes or growing vegetables, whatever you're interested in, whatever there's an audience for. And then we're also doing a Master Gardener program, so Lincoln is part of the Gold Country Master Gardener program. It's a larger kind of district community, and they're a great community to work with, and Master Gardener classes will begin again in the fall, so I don't have an exact date for those, but if you're interested in becoming a better gardener, you can join that as well.
Yeah, so if any of this sparked your interest or anything?
I've got a question.
Yeah, sorry.
I believe for you, we have a very active weed board. And, be safe, gentlemen, be safe.
Thank you.
And watch out for weeds. And they
It's not just
yes, and that's where I'm going with this. So we have a noxious weed board here in Lewis and Clark County. And do you work with them or in conjunction with them?
Yes, working with them. They actually had a board meeting today during this, so I was able to attend their board meeting today. But I would have otherwise. So yes, working with the Noxious Weed Board, and there's also the Weed District here as well. So lots of different weed resources.
Okay.
Sophia from Slivers. And my card is in the back. We all have, I think, cards in the back if you're interested.
Yeah,
Our
again,
contact information.
Any of this sparked your interest, or if you want more information, we brought mock guides, publications, our cards, and again, we'll be hanging out afterwards if you would like to chat with us.
Tom?
Sure, Pam, we might also have, I think Emily, talk a little bit about what's coming up for 4-H over the next couple of months.
Yeah, so our county fair is July 23rd through the 26th. With our livestock sales, the 26th. Anything else?
There's opportunities to buy some
Yes.
animals and have meat on the table for the rest of the year.
Yes, on July 26th is the livestock sale.
4-H also does, like at Camp Congress, they do, you want to list the rest?
Yeah, I would say that, so there's Montana 4-H Congress, which is the week before our fair. And we have summer camp in August. I think those are only 3 things happening this summer.
Yeah, but they're bigger kind of programs for 4-H kids. You can send them to a camp a week long and they learn a bunch of skills and spend time with other kids.
Another question I have is, should there be someone in this audience who may have been in 4-H when they were a kid or has an interest in recognizing what a great program it is? How do they go about starting a 4-H club for Lincoln?
Yeah, so they can contact our office. Alicia Schmidt's card is on the table. But basically you just become a volunteer. You have to pass a couple background checks. And then you just start a club and then we recruit members.
And you can volunteer very small or very big. Alicia likes to comment on how you don't have to do everything when you start volunteering. You can do as little or as much as you want.
Okay, any further questions? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you for your time.
And now the Montana Main Street Program overview. Whoops. I missed Rachel, I'm sorry. Go for it, Rachel.
She did do my presentation. I'm good at it.
She's very talented.
Yeah. I actually think. Oh, yes. I have my presentation.
Goodbye, Misty.
Oh, I'll be back. I'm just going over to the park.
Oh, yeah. She's gotta go, what is it, the Misty?
I'm going to see the
Edwards
post. I'm not going to the Edwards Center.
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners Payne, community members of Lincoln. My name is Rachel Ward. I'm here this morning with Lindsay Morgan, our senior planner. We are here to talk about the Lewis and Clark County Growth Policy Update. This is a process that's been going on for over a year and a half. We have been in this room at least 3 times to discuss this project. And the reason we're here today is because we are moving into this final public adoption process. This is something that we could have just, done the minimum advertising and stayed in Helena, but because this is a county-wide growth policy update, we want to make sure that we're going out into the community and making sure that we're being where you are. So with that, I usually have a PowerPoint presentation. It's going to be a little more informal, so we've got slides as well. I know this may be redundant for people who have been part of the process in the past, but just to kind of cover all the bases, I'm going to go over what is a growth policy. We're going to talk about the process that has been in the works, again, for the past year and a half. I'll talk about the plan that was developed. Part of this plan includes future land use maps, or one map, I should say. We have a map of that, and I'll talk about how that was developed. And then I'm also going to talk about, there's a chapter in this document that has the 6 planning areas, Lincoln being a designated planning area, and what that component of the chapter includes. I'll give an overview of next steps, and then I'll have time for questions. If there are any clarifying questions, feel free to jump in.
If you go into like 12 o'clock, are you gonna provide some sandwiches?
Some snacks?
Yeah, just.
I don't know, they're
Sorry
to
to.
I will try and be brief. I'll be brief. So I guess, to get into it, what is a growth policy? The growth policy is the county's guidebook for managing future growth and change is happening. And understanding this growth and change and supporting public health, welfare, and safety. It is a document that is community-driven principles. There's criteria and guidelines for future decision-making. It is not a regulatory document. It doesn't require that regulations be made. The future land use map, I want to say, is not a zoning map. It can provide, though, the philosophical and legal groundwork for establishing regulations if they're appropriate. And the reason why we are doing this growth policy update is because state statute allows cities, counties to do so. MCA 76-1-601 talks about the criteria of what is required in a growth policy, how to adopt it, how to use it. And this is a document that's supposed to be used by planners, by public sector employees, by county commissioners as that guiding document for decision making. It's also to be used by the nonprofit sector, private sector businesses, and community members, because it's giving you a guidepost of what we want the future to look like and provide you with those tools to help get you there. So that's what a growth policy is. Lindsay's gonna hold up a illustration on the other way.
What, you carry it upside down?
This is the process that we've been through. We are at the final stage, but heading back to the fall of 2023, when all of this started, the first step was contracting with SE Group. They are a consulting group that has helped us to establish this plan. The primary planner, the associate planner who's been working with us, is from here in Montana. Lives in Missoula, has many years of experience working in Montana communities, and it's been great to work with. So that happened in the fall of 2023. Once that contract was established, they started a few things. First, we gathered all of the plans that we have now, previous growth policies, area plans. We work with other departments to make sure that plans relating to wildfire, community health, a whole slew of plans and regulations were collected, as well as data economic data, population data. All of that went into what SE Group created as the snapshot is what they're calling it. And it's just what does Lewis and Clark County look like right now? That was created in the fall of 2023. Another big thing that happened in the fall of 2023 is we created the Technical Advisory Committee. That was the committee that came together about once every 6 weeks-ish to help make sure that this process was moving along appropriately. It included city staff, so public works, planning, water quality protection district. We also had City of Helena, East Helena, but also organizations, land management, building folks were on that technical advisory committee as well. Starting in the spring, after that snapshot, that what exists, April of 2024 is when we started our big kickoff of public engagement. And that's when we had a number of stakeholder meetings. We had 6 visioning open house events. This is the first time we were here in this building. We also met with stakeholders. And these are going to be stakeholder meetings of key groups like ag folks, conservation, builders, developers. A number of those meetings took place in April as well. During that time, we had an online tool. So in terms of engaging with the public, we had these open houses around the county, but we also had an online tool so that people can provide those comments. It was an interactive map, so you could drop a comment on a map. And that stayed open for about 2 months. With all of that public engagement, those comments, along with an analysis of the snapshot, that brought us to the summer of 2024 when SE Group compiled this road policy document. They worked throughout the summer to do so, and in the early fall of 2024 is when we received that first draft. That is, staff reviewed it, we provided comments internally, and we got this first public-facing draft of the document in October of 2024. And that's when our second big engagement took place. So we went out into the community again. I think that was the second time we were in this room. We went up to Augusta and had some events in Kalispell, Helena. And
I didn't infect her with my whatever it is.
And gathered feedback to say, hey, this is our document. Did we get it right? And we got a lot of feedback to that. And so that brings us to the end of 2024. We took a pause with SE Group for a minute because at that point we had a draft future land use map. And particularly in the Helena Valley area where we are next to those municipalities of East Helena and Helena, we stopped and said, hey, Helena, you are updating your long-range planning documents. You have a map yourself, a land use map that you are putting together, and so we coordinated with the city of Helena. We have updated the future land use map with that regard, and that has led us to this final step that we're in right now. That's the public adoption process, the formal process. I guess to kind of explain what has happened thus far, we have gone to the planning board. We heard we had the first public hearing with the planning board. It was a 3-hour meeting. We had some great discussions. Water is a big topic that took up quite a bit of discussion. Ultimately, the planning board did recommend unanimously to forward a recommendation to adopt the growth policy with a few changes that staff recommended, and those were just based on some comments we got after November. So that's the process. I do want to just go over briefly what this plan says. This document that we have, after we collected the input from the community, analyzed past very very valuable plans like the Lincoln area plan. Went out to the community. There were a few topics that came up again and again that need to be addressed when considering that future growth and change. And those are the 8 imperatives. Supporting housing attainability, preserving agricultural and working lands, safeguarding culture, heritage, and rural character, creating opportunities for strategic growth, protecting water and natural resources, sustaining and enhancing public services and critical infrastructure, ensuring sustainable recreation, and mitigating flooding, fire, and earthquake risks. And all of these things play into the larger county vision, and there's a county vision statement that is essentially, this is what we want our county to look like. That's what you have in front of you. The document itself is not short. I wouldn't recommend reading it at 9 o'clock at night, but it is organized into a few chapters. The first chapter is just an introduction. It's going to be the same things that I'm talking about. What is a growth policy? Who uses a growth policy? The next chapter is the countywide vision. It talks about this countywide vision, introduces the imperatives. The third chapter is the existing conditions, the county realities, and that's a summary of the snapshot. So what are the issues in Lewis and Clark County? What are the realities? What are the challenges? What are our assets? That kind of thing. I would say of the chapters, that's the first really meaty chapter. The second really meaty chapter is going to be the next one. It's the countywide policies. And that's the chapter that takes these 8 imperatives and it creates policies of, within these topics, what are the county's policies? And within those policies, what are the actions that we are going to take as a county? So the second really big meaty chapter. The 5th chapter builds on Lewis and Clark County's history of utilizing planning areas. There's 6 planning areas in Lewis and Clark County. I'm going to try and remember. Lincoln, Augusta, Wolf Creek, Craig, Helena, Canyon Ferry, York, and Canyon Creek, Marysville. Thank you. Those each have their own section in this chapter 5. These are 2-page documents. They are based on our analysis of past planning that's been done, existing conditions, example here in Lincoln, and then also the feedback that we've received. This is not a comprehensive plan by any means. It is just an identification of key issues in those planning areas and how decisions need to be made with regard to that, to those areas. The 6th chapter is the future land use map. It is, again, a countywide update. So our future land use map has designations for the entire county. A few things that I just want to note about the future land use map. You will see a black dotted area around the Helena Valley planning area. There are designations around the entire county, but the designations outside of the Helena Valley area plan are more general. They just talk about character of the area, potential uses. They don't have the same granularity that in the Helena Valley area plan where the vast majority of the population lives. It doesn't have the same land use details in terms of potential densities or potential populations. So while, again, the future land use map covers all of the county, this is not a zoning map. And it does not indicate that zoning will be maybe appropriate in some of these more rural areas. I can go into how this map was created. Based on community priorities, areas, ideas about growth. Okay, sounds good. I'll skip that slide.
I think that will be good.
That's why.
Moving. We've got
Okay.
2 other presentations here.
We do. I think the one last thing that I want to say about this map is you'll see these yellow dots. One covers Lincoln, you've got Augusta, Gilman, York. These are what are designated as rural centers. They are an acknowledgement that these areas have a particular density. There are communities, and they have that community feel. A lot of these rural centers have a very tourism-based economy. Tourism is important. And so knowing this, there's specific policies for rural centers to make sure that not only is that tourism managed in a sustainable way, but also, you're preserving that rural character. Because at the end of the day, a lot of you live in these rural communities because you enjoy the rural culture. But as part of these rural centers, we're also identifying that in terms of infrastructure improvement and focusing resources towards these rural centers is also really important. So,
Rachel?
Yes. Is that it?
I think that's enough.
Okay.
You've had quite a bit more time than anybody else.
Than anyone else? Okay, sounds
Yes,
good.
and I appreciate your efforts on this. You did a really nice job.
Thank you.
However, the people
Yes.
with the Montana Main Street program look
Might wanna
excellent.
discuss this up. Sounds great.
Wow.
So we'll leave it to
Besides,
me.
I'm hungry and I need to go faster, so we need to keep moving along.
Fair enough.
Next.
That's me, I guess. All right, well, good morning, almost good afternoon, Commissioner King, Commissioners, community, thank you for having me here today. Also with me is Ann Schwind. We are from the Department of Commerce, specifically the Community MT Division, and I am the Montana Main Street Coordinator. Just from a show of hands, who in this room knows that Lincoln is a Montana Main Street member? Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to be super fast for everybody's benefit. But we are celebrating our 20th anniversary as a Main Street network. And so as part of this, and as part of my role being in this position for the last 2 years, is I've been trying to connect with all of the communities, figure out who the local coordinating program is, and what we can do as a resource for the community of Lincoln, because that is ultimately what the Montana Main Street program does, is we're here to be a resource for you in whatever capacity that looks like. We currently serve 39 communities across the state. Our largest is Billings, one of our smallest is Ekalaka, so you can tell we range all over the map. But really what is at the heart of this program is the local community. It's you people in this room who are telling us what you want your downtown to look like, and then we can help you in whatever way that looks like. We're not here to impose anything on you. We are here to be a resource and a tool. Just a little bit of history. This program has been around for 45 years. It started as with the National Main Street Center, which was part of the Historic Preservation Office. And it's now morphed into Main Street America. So sometimes you hear both of those terms being floated around. But as I said, Montana Main Street has been a part of this, or a part of Main Street America for 20 years as the coordinating program with Main Street America, and then under that umbrella, we have local communities which make up the 39 that are currently part of this program. So we follow the framework or the roadmap that Main Street America uses, which is called the 4-point approach. So it talks about organization, promotion, economic vitality, and design. So those are really the 4 areas that we focus on. But the big one for us is organization, because organization is you, the local coordinating program, driving the efforts. Now the partnership, which is why I was grateful to be here today to speak with the county commissioners, is that in this, how we do it within the Montana Main Street program is your county commissioners are your fiscal agent for the local coordinating program. So for example, if you guys want to apply for a grant, which you did previously, you have a downtown master plan, that was closed out in April of 2023, your fiscal agent was the county, and Ann, I think, helped manage that project. So keeping that in mind, one of the tools that we have is a grant program, and if you want to apply for that grant, you're going to have to be partners with the county commissioners, aka their staff, right? So make sure that if you guys are thinking about a grant in the future, and that grant cycle will likely open here towards the end of summer, early part of fall, and I'll have a pre-application training for the grant. do that sooner than later. You can call me at any point, but again, at some point, I would imagine you'll have to come in front of the county commissioners and get buy-in on that decision. That is done locally, that is done amongst you guys, but that is just one of the things that I typically like to recommend. Totally not going off my notes, but that is okay. Just briefly, I won't belabor the organization part anymore, other than I have connected with the Chamber of Commerce, so you're your local coordinating program, and Erin Day is stepping up to the plate to be that local contact for me. But there are the other 3 points, again, promotion. So when you think about promotion for Lincoln, that might mean it's actually like your rodeo. We have a very cool shot that I got from Karen Good of your rodeo that we actually use in a lot of our publications. So when we think about promotion, we often think about that as events and marketing. So think about that as more of like what you feel. The design part is more of what you see. So when you're thinking about the design part, that's the aesthetic of Lincoln's downtown. That's things like your streetscape, your clean and safe, your beautification efforts. That's really what that design part, and your historic buildings, historic preservation, very key part of our program. And then the last one is economic vitality, and that is the money flowing in and out of Lincoln. So that's your entrepreneurs, that's your businesses. We were in a really cute shop this morning, spent some money. But your community foundations or your entrepreneurs, that's really what that arm of the 4-point approach means. Just quickly, I loved seeing Rachel's presentation and safeguard cultural heritage and rural character. That fits right into the Main Street program. So you guys are, sounds like, kind of already tapping into that, and there's been conversations about that. So kudos to you for that. I understand that Lincoln might be pursuing the tourism grant within the Department of Commerce. That is not Ann or my division. They actually are in the floor below us as we sit in our offices in downtown Helena. But just keep in mind that the Main Street program is actually a readiness factor that helps with potentially getting that tourism grant. And I can be involved as little or as much as you want me in preparation if that is something you guys are going towards. If you already have not connected with the person at Commerce, I can connect you with that person. Yeah, great. And then just a couple other things to wrap up. I do a thing called 60 Minutes with Main Street. It's a workshop that I do the second Wednesday of every month. It's on Teams. It is welcome to anybody, not even necessarily Main Street communities, but that is really the opportunity where you get to network with one another and talk about like challenges and successes that you might be facing in your community. In addition, I do a thing based off of these quarterly updates that I receive from each community. I hear like what trends are happening in communities, and as part of that 60 Minutes with Main Street, I will do 30 minutes of that called the Learn in 30 or Spotlight Community, where I will take trends that might be arising in communities and try to bring in a specialist to come and have that conversation. So for example, last August, I had somebody from NDT come in and help talk about like how do you work with Montana Department of Transportation when you want to do things like wayfinding, because that's all very critical as part of all that goes. So keep in mind that is open to any of you in this room. If you are interested, grab my card afterwards. Erin knows how to get, Erin knows how to get a hold of me. Ann knows how to get, I was looking at the wrong person and saying the wrong name. Ann knows how to get a hold of me. Even Rachel does. Commissioners, I think, know how to get a hold of me.
We can track you.
Yes, you can. So with that, I'm just gonna leave again that this program is really meant for the local community. You have to have great partners, but it's you who's doing the work.
I have a question here.
Yes.
There is quite an active group here called the Lincoln Prosperity.
Yes.
Okay, and I want to know, are you working with them? Is this part of a coordinated effort?
So through my conversations with Ann, I have heard about them, and I actually heard about them this morning at the cute little shop that we stopped at, that is Zach's wife's shop. So I'm not directly working with them, but I would love to. So if you're in this room and you're part of that group, please talk to me afterwards.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't all have to do this our own way. Let's make it a coordinated effort and talk to each other. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, that's a big thing in the power of, I think, Montana Main Street program is networking. And I'm very powerful. I'm a former extension agent, so listening to you guys talk, I'll often tell communities, if you aren't partnering with your extension, you're missing a key organization. especially in like a lot of rural communities, extension and either community and vitality person. I was actually a community vitality person. But anyways, I'm here as a resource in whatever capacity you need that to be. I want to help rebuild the Lincoln program. And especially if you're looking for funding, which came up earlier in this meeting today, that we don't have a lot of money. Our division has money to give away.
The state.
Yes.
The state holds the money. They dribble it down to the counties.
Yes.
But
So please connect with me or Ann. Again, I was going to go a little bit more into that, but in the effort of time, I will stop.
Thank you.
Yes.
I
Thank you for
appreciate
having me here.
Okay, and I really hope we will coordinate.
Yes.
They, I believe, when are they coming on Tuesday? Well, we'll talk.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody.
Now, the best part, this is the Lincoln Cemetery District Board update, and this is the only reason I drove up here today. I wanted to say this.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to read the
First, you gotta say your name.
Bonnie Sheldon for Lincoln Cemetery.
Okay, and what about the lady behind you?
Sandra Winters, I'm on the board.
Okay, good, thank you.
We had a great turnout. It was a beautiful day. 25 people showed up to clean up the old flowers, break weedy, burn down branches, pull weeds, and cut up felled trees. Flags will be posted this week for our 90 veterans in the old cemetery and the 10 in the lower cemetery. After cleanup, we had a potluck and a short meeting. Bud Robinson asked about having a shadow box with a map of the cemetery to indicate who and where people, and if they are veterans. It was suggested we contact Doug Walton about making this. Also suggested that we contact things like safety gaps. Talked about fencing in the new area with the same type of jack leg fencing upon county property. Still wondering, who do we need to contact about any road payments we could possibly get? Our biggest concerns are the spotted knapweed, which we can't broadcast spray as we will lose all of our wildflowers. Pulling, weed, spot spraying were suggested. So our two big concerns that we're coming to the county with are weeds, roads, and fences.
Sandy?
Yes, that was pretty much it. I think Sophia might be a definitely good one to talk to about the spotted knapweed that's up there.
Sophia. Oh, there you are.
And we'll grab your card. And the other thing is because we have that added on property that goes down to the corner, the original cemetery part, we have the jackleg fencing around it and across the road. We just need to know, to be able to get the fencing put up, we do need county approval on being able to fence the other section.
Jenny, is this something that they were done by public works or tough? Stand up and I get
Thank you, board members. Appreciate you guys coming today. We can certainly also assist with, at the county under public works, I do have a noxious weed program under this program, under my department as well. Christian Leonard, I know, has been up at the cemeteries because it is county-owned properties and has sprayed for noxious weeds where they can. But yes, we don't want to kill the wildflowers either, and some of those might just need to be pulled or spot spraying like you indicated. The road issue has come up in the past. For the old cemetery especially, it runs from a county segment of a road onto Forest Service property, and then the cemetery is actually on county property. That road is part of the cooperative agreement with the Forest Service that we have, and it is a not listed agreement, but county and county road department does not have jurisdiction to work on that road. We have to continue to partner with the Forest Service. So if Jim was here, I would have mentioned that to him again. We'd certainly have a phone call with him just to say that this was a concern raised and find out if they have any maintenance plans for the roads. The fencing, I think I can work with Pam Tardo with the planning department and talk about the cemetery and the work in the land and then contact the board to just get a better idea exactly where you guys wanna maybe construct the fence, what portion does that look like, and what does that move forward with, but I will take that back and talk with Pam and Community Planning Division, along with maybe Lindsay and Rachel, and we can look at that map and see where that is and get back to the board members on your fencing question.
You're saying Pam Carter? Okay, with the
Yes.
historical preservation.
Yes.
She was very involved in rebuilding some of the old 1800 fences in the historical.
Yeah.
Historical of the cemetery.
Yes.
But we would appreciate any information the county can give us on weeds, the road.
Let's get you to have contact information from Jenny, and then you can follow up on this, okay?
Okay.
This is outside of my, but I can, kind of direct traffic, okay? Do you have any questions?
Not for these fine folks.
Use for somebody else.
Well,
Do you have any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? You need to talk about it? Good. I'm starving. Thank you for coming in and.
Yeah, we do have
Uh-oh, this gentleman right back here.
If everybody else is finished, just have
Okay,
just a minute of
but
your time.
You need to come up to
I
the.
understand that.
Okay, thank you, ladies, and I appreciate what you do. Cemeteries are an important part of our history.
My name is Jim Bass, I live at 1237 Penny Lane, Lincoln, Montana. And I guess I'm reaching out to you people here on the county commissioners to address an issue that I think has been an ongoing problem with employees plowing roads that they shouldn't plow.
Now, who's an employee of who? The county?
Who's the car company? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to drive down to, and I will make this brief, if you would like to drive down to South Lincoln Gulch Road, straight across from the beef jerky store, drive down that lane and you'll see that they plowed the road. When you get to the T, they plowed the road over through Lee Denbour's property, all the way to Big Street today.
Dorothy Lane.
No, past Dorothy Lane to Dalton Mountain. Thank you for helping. Anyway, I don't want to take up your time. It's not that big a deal. The young man that was doing it, I believe just needs guidance. Okay? He didn't plow Penny Lane, which I didn't want him to plow in front of my home.
Now, when you say plow, are you talking snow or are we talking
Great.
moving dirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
They plow in the winter, they
Yeah.
plow the gravel off the road. Okay, if you go down north on Penny Lane, you'll see piles of mud like this, and the lane is down to a lane and a half. That's the other neighbor's problem. Okay. So anyway, I just wanna make this so that it's not against anybody, not you folks, anybody here. It's the idea, how do we do something to help? You're already shorthanded. You need 2 people, they don't have 2 people. This individual graded the road, nobody to wet it down, settled the dust, fine. We live with it, that's just a minor detail. But he got down a road that he shouldn't have been on, it says private property, dead end, he crossed somebody else's property to get over to Dorothy Lane or
The Stonewall subdivision is what he graded and he should have.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just the idea that it's just something that shouldn't be going on for whatever reason.
And the only way we find out is because people come and tell us.
Well, I understand that, that's why I say I'm not
Want
here,
you to.
I'm not here to take your time up, it's just a matter of things I'd like to take a look at. And if I can be of help, I'll be of help. But we come too fast, these young guys are driving too fast. Okay, I worked safety for 35 years. I had 365 apprentices that I worked around many states in the United States building power lines. So I understand safety, I understand speeding, I understand getting pinched, getting hurt, climbing out of equipment. That's not part of meeting here today. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you just going down to take a look at this.
Well, You know who's in charge of our road department? Jenny Chambers.
I don't want anybody to be at war.
Oh, no, this isn't a war, this is a service.
But the thing is, we're trying to help people.
Yeah.
And that's what we're supposed to do, is grow the community.
Yep. And we need to be able to keep the roads, so if we need an emergency vehicle in there, they
Absolutely.
can get in. And
Yeah,
so, the only
they
way
kept
we
rolling.
find out is if people tell us, so thank you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Jenny, do you want to?
Yeah, just Commissioner, just really quickly, kind of just give an idea of what we're working on countywide. So there's over, we are able to maintain about 500 miles of road, and if you can imagine county, all the way from Augusta to Lincoln, all the way to Helena, there's a lot more roads than that. Not all of them are county roads. I'm not gonna get into the long conversation about county jurisdiction and different roads. There's private roads, there's public access roads. Some public access roads people think are county roads. County roads are actually state highways. State highways are interstates. Road law gets very complicated, very quickly. So what we're trying to do collectively is we have road prioritization that we're looking at. But first off, we don't have a good snapshot of what historically we've been maintaining, what roads we shouldn't be maintaining. So we're doing, where we're going around now to the different district areas and saying what roads are we maintaining, and then from that, we're gonna look to see which of those may or may not be county roads. I'm not gonna pull the trigger like as of like July 1, that are gonna be no county roads, because there's historically been roads that we've been maintaining that people are depending upon us maintaining those. Some that we're not, so we're gonna have to take a hard look at that moving forward, but those are gonna be conversations with the communities. But knowing something like this one that you indicated, and I'll give you my card, sir, before we leave, to give a heads up about one historically that hasn't been done, but with a new district operator in the area, he might have thought he was doing a service, and just needs to have, like you said, education on that as an area that we don't go to, so I appreciate having that information. Where we have, in Augusta, we have Lewis, who's been an equipment district operator for years and years and years. In the next couple of years, if he retires, we're gonna be in the same boat up in that area too, where we're not sure exactly where these folks go or where they've been maintaining. So, we are trying to get a list of those, we're trying to prioritize those. We're gonna come back to communities to talk about what we can and cannot continue to do with our resources. In Helena, we've started to have some of those conversations on road prioritizations, and we are dropping maintenance in some subdivision and jurisdictions. We haven't so much in the outlying areas, but it is a conversation coming. So just want to say it is on our radar for prioritizing those, and I appreciate the information today. Thanks.
Yeah, yes, that's why we come out to Lincoln, why we go to Augusta, we want people to be included in, we all pay property taxes. Everybody's saying, the property taxes are too high. True, but we have to buy tires for the road graders, and we have to buy, it's amazing how much it costs to keep this operating. Okay. Do you have anything else?
We should probably recognize people from what congressional staffs who are here.
Oh. Stand up, please, be brief, say your name, state your name, rank, and serial number.
Do you want me to maneuver over that way?
I think you have to speak for two, don't you?
I do, yes.
Okay.
I'll come over
Yes,
here.
you do need to be in front of the.
Well, I've met a lot of these people. I make it to the meetings in Helena as often as I can, but my name is Eliza McLaughlin. I'm the Helena area field rep for Senator Steve Daines. I've been trying to get out here to Lincoln. I was here, was it last week still? For Memorial Day, and I love getting over here and meeting with all you guys. So I'm here in town today to try and just, one, hear some of the things going on in Lincoln, and two, connect with some individuals who I haven't before. I am speaking for two, and I will be leaving on maternity leave in the next few weeks. So, yeah, happy to pass out cards and connect with anyone. And yeah, I'll be here. Thanks.
For coming up and being patient. Anybody else out there that should be? Oh. You, yes. I've seen you before. You know the drill.
Yeah. I'm Roger Day. I think most people in town know who I am. We are going to try to apply for the tourism grant. It's $2.75 million over 5 years. It's enough money. We'd be crazy not to apply for it, at least give it a shot. If we get it, it's enough money to do all the stuff that Lincoln has been wanting to do for literally decades. The complaint we always heard is, you're always making plans, nothing ever happens. This, because we never have the money to make anything happen, this would give us the money to make a lot of stuff happen that would improve Lincoln's tourism. And like Zach said, we've got to protect the tourism and recreation because it is literally the only economic sector we have left. So we've got a steering committee put together. We've had just a couple meetings so far. We're still trying to navigate the whole process. We're working with Kara Maplethorpe, part of the Rockies. It looks like AMBAC is going to be our fiscal sponsor on this one. So things are moving ahead. We don't know what's going to happen. If we can get an application done for this fall, that'd be great. That would give us currently 3 shots at it. If we don't get it this fall, we could have a shot at it for the following year and then the following year again. As far as I know, there are only 3 cycles left, unless Department of Commerce is suddenly getting a bunch of money to throw at us again. But we're gonna go for it. So if anybody has any questions or suggestions, I'm currently kind of the lead guy on it. I don't know exactly how that happened. I don't really know what I'm doing.
Join the force.
But if you want to come talk to me, we're our phone number is 362-431. Just call. Anybody have any questions about it?
Are you working with the Department of Commerce on it? Is it through?
Well, it's a Department of Commerce grant, but yeah, right now we're just in the preliminary stages, so
Yeah.
we do.
You need to, yes.
You want to be working with us. Yeah.
She works for you.
Well, I know, and that's why Aaron is talking to her leader, I think, to get her.
Okay.
I'll give you my card too.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
don't
And,
leave right after.
No, I'm not planning to.
We probably need to coordinate with LPP on some ideas as well. Anyway, that's all I have.
LRP, what?
Lincoln Prosperity Proposal.
LRP? Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Anything else? Is there any? Any public comment on anything, not on the agenda, that we should know about? I mean, the last couple of things that fall in there. Okay. Next meeting.
Commissioner,
Oh,
I have a comment.
you have a comment?
I do have a comment.
Don't order your lunch yet.
Yeah, not yet. Don't order your lunch yet. No, thank you very much. I just want to recognize the folks in the room and all that's being done around here. I mean, this is pretty important. Thanks to our folks from Commerce and our cemetery district folks that are working with the vets. I mean, we have a lot going on in Lincoln, and Roger taking the ball on this, and I know that's pretty important. And I especially want to recognize, we have a lot of staff in there, and since we have a crowd, there's a lot of great people from that work for Lewis and Clark County that are here today that do great work for you. And didn't have a chance to talk today, but the grants and purchasing department, she'll be right in with Commerce, right in with Roger, and helping out and giving all the support she can. And this, Lindsay, thank you, and Rachel and Angie, thanks. The growth policy is a heavy lift. We've been working on it for a year and a half, and it's a huge document. It's a lot of work, and you know we spent 15 minutes on it here. It doesn't do it justice. So on one hand, you know, it's painful to take too long, but it's also a super important document, and we will be taking action on it in the middle of the month here. The commission has to decide on where we're going to go with that. So really appreciate that hard work, and of course our friends from Extension. It's great to hear from you, and many people haven't been around that long, and so it's nice to get introduced and get out in the community. So thank you very much for the great work. And then last, I'll throw a verbal hug to our friends at the Community Council. So we just said there's a lot going on in Lincoln, and we try to, the reason the Community Council is established here is so that we can kind of funnel all the conversation locally through the Community Council. So please include them in all of your conversations, those that are doing things, whether it's the cemetery or Commerce or whatever the growth, whatever it might be, extension, the community council is really our ears and eyes in the community up here, and we turn to them for, you know, we have to make a decision on this thing in Lincoln. What do we do? You know, well, here's what the community says. So that's where we kind of turn. And it's been a challenge to keep a group on there. We've had some steady eddies, and I really appreciate the work that's done. Thank you, Zach, Roger, Ken, Loud. There's been a lot of people that have been right there through the years. So thanks much. And of course, Jenny, thank you for your work and always ready to say, hey, how can I help? Here's my card. We'll work on that. I'll contact another department, whatever I have to do to assist. So I just want to appreciate the people that work for you and appreciate the work going on in Lincoln. It's great to be here and listen to all that happened today. And Roger, you too, doggone it. So he keeps the commission in line.
He tries.
He tries. So thanks, Chair, for indulging me there for a minute.
All right, anything else? For the good of the order.
Commissioner, August the 8th will be the next meeting.
July.
It's the 4th.
The 4th.
4th of July is, would be July.
Okay, so we're not doing 4th of July, August which?
August 8th.
We've got August 1st down here.
That might the first Friday.
Oh, you're correct.
August 1st.
No mistake, Commissioner.
August
August
1st.
Thank you very much.
Okay, everybody here done, next done, we'll have a little party like this August 1st. And this meeting, 2 hours. Thank you all for being here. This meeting is adjourned. It was a great presentation.
If you see anything else, over time, he is beautiful, so.
Long time no see, trouble. Look at this.
Congratulations, I give you a rundown for the inside where the outfits talk about this program we're doing.
We're trying.
And I'm gonna come right back in because there's more to grab.
Will help us stay.